Hello everybody, welcome to TCOM 408 Online. I'm Dr. Mike Gerhard, and we're going to talk about some of the ethics involved in the entertainment industry in this brief video. Now, you know the media are accused of promoting every kind of conceivable form of antisocial behavior. The major concerns include violence, sex, strong language, smoking, drugs, alcohol, blasphemy, hate speech, uncivil behavior, and maybe you could think of some other concerns when it comes to controversial media content. Now, what social responsibility theory advocates is self-restraint, not government control. So here's the question. Should media practitioners develop voluntary guidelines concerning morally offensive content? And if so, what are those rules or guidelines? Why don't we zoom in on the issue of tobacco use and smoking? Now, did you know that since 2005, all of the big six Hollywood movie studios have adopted policies for smoking and tobacco depictions in the films? So this was the first one, Time Warner's policy. So let's examine it. Time Warner's policy regarding tobacco depictions in films. I think this is an example of corporate social responsibility. If you look at the Time Warner guidelines, you'll see the following. Time Warner works hard to conduct itself in a responsible manner regarding the depiction of smoking in our films. That is according to the company's Corporate Social Responsibility Report. Time Warner's tobacco depiction policy says, when we develop films, we work with our creative talent to ensure to the greatest extent possible that smoking is not depicted in our films unless there's a compelling creative reason to do so. Okay, so here's the specific guidelines. First, Time Warner filmed entertainment companies do not enter into any product placement or promotional deals with tobacco companies for any of its films. No product placement of tobacco products. Number two, Time Warner filmed entertainment companies endeavor to reduce or eliminate depictions of smoking and tobacco products from motion pictures it produces and distributes in the U.S. rated G, PG, and PG-13. For films aimed at children, Time Warner wants to reduce or eliminate depictions of smoking. Now, there are some loopholes here, some exceptions to accommodate creative license and artistic concerns. Depictions of smoking is allowed if A, the depiction involves a character who is an actual historical figure known to have used tobacco products. B, the depiction is warranted for reasons of compelling historical accuracy. Or C, the depiction is part of a conspicuous anti-smoking reference. So there are the three exceptions to the rule. All right. We know historically a lot of figures were associated with tobacco use, and to eliminate tobacco in depictions of these historical characters would probably be rather inaccurate. Same thing with the culture and the time. Okay, for reasons of historical accuracy, if you've got a film set in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, or 50s, almost everybody smoked cigarettes during that time period. All right, a fourth guideline from Time Warner. Time Warner tries to reduce tobacco depictions in all R-rated motion pictures it produces and distributes in the U.S. unless there are compelling creative reasons for such depictions. All right. Did this policy have an effect? Yes. From 2005 to 2010, Time Warner reduced tobacco incidents per youth-rated movie by more than 90%. It got it down to about 1 incident per movie. Your reactions to this policy? Do you think this is unwarranted and too hard on artistic freedom and creative license? Or do you think it's fairly reasonable? Would you be willing to work under such guidelines or conditions? Now, not everybody agrees with Hollywood and its approach to smoking in films. There's one kind of radical group called Smoke-Free Movies out of San Francisco, and it lobbies against all tobacco depictions in films, and it claims that certain policies will avert tobacco addiction, disease, and death on a massive scale. What policies? Well, first, rate new smoking movies R. Any future films that show or imply tobacco should be given an adult rating. In the US, an R rating. Do you agree with that? You show 1 cigarette being smoked in a film, it should automatically get an R rating. The only exceptions approved by this particular lobbying group are A, when the depiction unambiguously reflects the dangers and consequences of tobacco use, in other words, a negative depiction of smoking, or if the depiction represents the tobacco use of an actual person, as in a biographical drama or documentary. All right. Smoke-Free Movies also wants each movie to certify that there's been no payoffs for product placement. The credited producer should complete a legally binding affidavit declaring that nobody associated with any future media production received any consideration or entered into any agreement related to tobacco depictions and should post a certificate to this effect in the final credits. We didn't accept any payoffs. All right, another thing that this coalition wants to push is the idea of requiring strong anti-smoking ads before, during, and after movies. Studios and theaters should run a proven effective anti-smoking advertisement, not produced by a tobacco company, immediately before any media production with any tobacco presence, and in any distribution channel, regardless of the work's age classification. An adjacent anti-smoking ad. A fourth recommendation, stop identifying tobacco brands. Tobacco brand imagery should not appear in the foreground or background of any scene in any future media production, regardless of the work's age classification. No tobacco brand. Okay, there's some kind of extreme prescriptions or ideas regarding the use of tobacco in film. Now, the Hollywood studios, well, except for Disney, have defended the freedom to have smoking in movies rated suitable for children. Okay, Disney has decided not to put any tobacco depictions in any movies aimed at children, but not the other studios. They're not willing to go that far. The argument is that it's a slippery slope. If you start banning cigarettes, what's next? The industry has raised the First Amendment flag and warns of forced R ratings for movies with soda and fatty foods. Right? The slippery slope argument. Not sure what your position is on the issue of smoking in the media. We've looked at one film studio's set of guidelines. I personally think that these are very reasonable guidelines, but you will again have to come to your own truths and your own judgments about these issues. All right, that's all I've got in this lecture. Please take care of yourself and everybody else around you. And so long for now.